Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am super excited to be back with another project using my fun Wild Whisper goodies. And so I'm just kind of showing you, I have pulled out lots and lots of leftovers. So I do not have the new collections from Wild Whisper yet, so the new January collection. So I decided this was a great time to pull out a bunch of my older collections and pieces of leftovers. And so I'm starting with the capital letter stamps, and this is from the December Back to the Basics. And so I'm using my stamp platform to kind of repeat this Aloha phrase over and over and over. So I've grabbed 3 different colors of ink, and I'm just going to kind of offset and stack up that word a little bit. So I'm basically creating my own background. And so I'm going to have 3 of them that show above where my photo is going to be. And then I'm going to have another one that I stamp down at the bottom below where my photos are. So I'm basically creating one long vertical element that's going to match up with my photo along that left-hand side. So there you can tell I have all 4, and my photo is going to kind of go in the middle. So this is a picture that I got sent when my 2 boys went with their dad and their half-brother and stepmom to Hawaii. So they had sent me this one picture of kind of all the boys dressed the same or similar. It is not a fantastic picture, but it's something that I want to document in their albums. So I make a really big effort when I get photos from their dad and stepmom to try and include them in their scrapbooks and in their layouts, because that's a whole half of their life. Even though they're not with me, it's important for them to see that I acknowledge that part of their life as well. At least I think that's important. So I am stacking up a whole bunch of pattern papers behind my photo. So I really wanted to create a ton of layers. And so I have pulled a bunch of my leftovers from I think like 4 different collections. So there's some Wild Whimsy in there, that's the blue one. There's some of the Back to the Basics, which are the plain colors. There's Out and About, which is that diagonal stripe. Palm Paradise, which has the palm trees. I even used the Back to the Basics like pack insert because it has that really great rainbow stripe down the side. And so I've been kind of cutting that insert apart so that I can use those like rainbow lined up colors. And so I'm just stacking everything up, basically. I'm cutting it kind of randomly. I'm not measuring anything. And I'm just stacking things where I think that they will look good. So I'm trying to get some variation in color. So I'm bringing in the turquoises and the blues, and then I'm also bringing in some of the orange. And I have the black and white palm trees in there because this is a Hawaii layout, so we can get the palm trees in there. And the way that I kind of make all these different layers and all these different patterns work together is I try not to put 2 patterns that are similar or that are competing right next to each other. So I can put a black and white pattern like the palm trees with a really colorful pattern, and that's okay. But if I have a colorful pattern with a bigger scale print and another colorful pattern with a bigger scale print, I'm not going to put those right next to each other. I'm going to use this plain cardstock layer in the middle. And it's going to create enough of a divide that it doesn't look super busy. And my patterns it allows each one of my patterns to stand out. And so that would be a big tip for you. If you're having a hard time layering pattern papers when you're creating like layers and photo mats, try sticking in either a really subtle pattern or a plain color in between some of your patterns. And I find that that tends to make a more kind of cohesive look. It looks much more intentional to me. So I've stacked up all my pattern papers here kind of on that left-hand side. And so I feel like I need just a little bit more on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go back and add another little piece of this stripe paper. And I know in my head, and as I'm planning this layout, I have 3 flare badges that I showed you in the beginning that I know that I want to use. And I know that they're going to go on the right side of the photo. So I want the majority of my weight of my layers on the left-hand side so that when I add those flare, it's going to balance the weight. So if I put a ton of weight on both sides of my photo, and then I added the flare, I'm going to be off balance. So adding more weight with the mats on one side and then the flare on the other side balances some of that weight. So then I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of strips over here on the right side of the page because it's lonely and it's empty over there. And so I want to have a pop of color. So I grab a couple of strips of color And then I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this kind of road sign. And this is from that Out and About collection on one of the cut apart pattern papers. And so I'm fussy cutting this sign, and I'm going to use it over in that bottom right hand corner to balance out some weight over there. So I want to make sure that everything is kind of balanced and has a place. And as I'm looking to add some embellishments now, everything is going to kind of work its way from the top left of my photo through the flare down to the bottom right. And so I'm sort of creating a diagonal that goes right through my photo. And then I also have that vertical element with my stamping that also leads you right through my photo. So I'm giving you multiple directions that are all kind of pointing in and focusing you on the picture. So all the embellishments and the little details are great, but what I want you to see is the picture of my kids. So I want everything to kind of be lined up in a way to point you in that direction. All right, so down here with my sign, I'm going to add this cute little pineapple and a couple little palm frond leaves to create just a little bit of a cluster down here at the very bottom. And you can see I'm putting that one lower than what my photo is because I want it to go diagonally. I don't want it to be even with my photo because that gives the impression that they are like equal or the same. So I want it to be a little bit lower because I want your eye to travel through my photo or be directed to my photo. I'm going to go ahead and grab some Spiegel Mom Scrap sequins because every layout needs sequins, right? And I'm going to add just a few, and I end up adding a whole bunch, and then I go back and take a bunch of them off. So I feel like it's too many. So I start, same thing as before. I'm going to start up in that top left, and then I'm going to move through my photo, through my embellishing, down to the bottom right. And so you can see here I'm starting to take a few of these off because I decided I don't need quite that many. And I'm just going to have 3 little clusters, so I'm kind of evening out the colors. And that is basically going to do it for this layout. So reach into your stash, grab some leftovers that all coordinate together, and create tons of layers. The Wild Whisper collections are perfect for this because you can find coordinating things from lots and lots of different collections. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this one. If you create something with layers this week, please tag me so I can see, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!